Hello and welcome to another episode of Wade's Workshop. Today we're going to be building what I call the world's most popular wooden Christmas tree. And the reason I call it that is every year at Christmas time you see it on all the woodworking pages, and it's made by beginners and seasoned woodworkers alike, and they sell quite well. So thought today we'd go over just how to make them. So the tools that I'm going to be using are my table saw. I'm going to be using a Crosscut sled. The one I'm using is from Rockhorn, has an adjustable gauge for the angles. If you don't have a table saw or a crosscut sled, you could build a crosscut sled, or you can use a miter saw. Those work quite well for this as well. Going to need some bar clamps. Need about 4 of those. I'm going to be using my brad nailer. The nails that I'm using are 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches. I'm going to need a sander. I'm using 80 grit sandpaper and 220 grit sandpaper. Yes, I'm skipping the 120, and a tape measure. I believe that's all the tools we need to get started, so let's go ahead and get started.
The first step in this project is to cut the fence picket down to 2.5 inches. One thing I did not do that I typically do when working with fence pickets is cut the edge of the picket off. I do this to give it a nice square edge and to make it easier to sand later. I'm sanding the fence picket before I cut out all the pieces because in my opinion, it's much easier to sand it when it's whole than a bunch of smaller pieces. I'm sanding with 80 grit sandpaper, and I'm not going crazy, just getting the roughness off. Alright, time to cut out some pieces. My first cut is just to make the picket a little smaller so it's easier to manage. Then I'm going to start cutting from my cut list. I found a website that you can put in the height, the width, and the thickness of your material, and a few other variables, and it will spit out all the measurements and angles you need for your tree. And it will give you a drawing with measurements so you know where each piece goes. I'm not sure who made this site, but thank you. It's awesome. I'll put a link in the description for you. Now that all my pieces are cut, I'm giving them a quick sanding with some 220 grit sandpaper. I know I skipped over a few grits in between, but these are cedar fence pickets, and they're so easy to sand that I don't see a problem with going straight to 220. While I sand these, it gives you a great opportunity to reach over and hit that subscribe button. The channel's been growing like mad lately, and I'd like to say welcome to all of you, and ask that if you enjoy this video, hit that like button. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know in the comments or stop by one of my social media pages. There'll be links in the description. Alright, it's time to assemble. I'm using the screen painter tape so that I can mark the center of each board without actually marking the board and then having the resand done. I really like this trick and it saves a lot of sanding time. One of the variables in the plans is how much overlap you want on each of the limbs. I went with 1.5 inches, so I'm marking each branch on the green tape again. Make sure you take your time here. If you mismeasure these, you'll end up with a lopsided tree, and nobody wants that. I'm not sure why I decided this tree needed 3 nails per branch. I typically only use 2. I think I wanted this tree to be extra strong. Typically I clamp the sides after assembly and wait for the glue to dry, but I figure with 3 nails, it'd be okay to keep going. I switched out my nails to 1.5 inches. Be cautious with your hand placement and your aim. You don't want a nail to blow out the side of your new tree, and you definitely don't want to have it come out and hit your hand. That would definitely ruin Christmas. While putting it together, I saw a little bit of movement in those joints, so I decided to put some clamps on after all. Every tree I make gets an eyelet on the top so my customer can hang an ornament if they want. If you make your tree from a harder wood, you may have to drill a pilot hole, but this cedar's pretty soft, so it's going right in. I'll put a link in the description for these eyelets. One way you can decorate these trees and increase sales is by adding lights. I found these fairy lights on Amazon, and they look great on the tree. I'm tracing the shape of the controller into the base on the top side and routing it out with a straight router bit. Didn't quite make it deep enough on that first pass, so I get to do it twice. That's better. I like to use brass thumbtacks to hold the lights. I think they look better than nails, but don't push them too hard. Fairy lights are easy to short out. Plastic thumbtacks might solve this, but I think the brass thumbtacks look better.
Well, this project's complete, and I think it turned out really good. Ended up making 4 today. This one here is the one that we were going off the plans. This one, all I did was reverse the angle here. Instead of cutting it so it'd be flat, I angled it down. Just gives it a little bit of character. This one here is the one with the lights, and we routed out the back to put the light controller in. I think that one turned out really good as well. And then this one, I just had a little fun with. This is 3/4 inch poplar and black walnut dowels. And I don't know, that'd be fun to try something different. And I enjoyed it, and I think it looks really good. So let me know in the comments which one's your favorite. If you're not a subscriber yet, now's a good time to reach over and hit that button. I'd love to have you as a subscriber, and thanks for watching. Lots of beginners build them, and a lot of seasoned professionals, seasoned woodworkers.
This is a good reminder to always check your nails before you shoot them to make sure you switch them out for the right size nails and not the nails that will go all the way through into your workbench. Nails work really well.